ban until all the way 10th ban of the entire draft. But talking about powerful bottom laners, Caitlyn is another one that we see fairly often. She's going to be banned out by LYON, while the 3 bans from Sentinels are the Nocturne, the Azir, and the Ezreal.
Yeah, LYON is learning from the book of what has Sentinels won with. And they're saying, okay, we're going to make them win with something else, because 3 wins with Gnar, 3 wins with Caitlyn. Sentinels only has 5 wins.
Okay, so these are responsible for over half.
Yeah, they're their 2 winningest champions. In fact, Rahel has 1 Ezreal win, 1 Kai'Sa win, 3 Caitlyn wins, and then lost on everything else. So currently, I like LYON's ban strategy.
Well, the numbers for Orianna there were pretty impressive. The champion has 100%, pick ban presence so far in Spring Split, and the 6 times that she's actually managed to become a pick and not just banned away, she's got a 100% win rate so far. So very high value first pick here for Sentinels.
And I think DARKWINGS is going to be in his comfort zone on this pick as a control mage player, but Inspired is on Pantheon. So it's not Nocturne, which he normally plays against control mages, but it's just allowing him to put on a lot of pressure to the side lanes in the mid game, which is always what he wants to do against enemy control mages.
And it feels so good. Like, this is one of the established things that you need to win against Orianna, is you need to be able to put pressure to kill her in side lanes, because she's not an adept side laner compared to a lot of other characters. It can be a very dangerous place for her to be. Isles locking in the Bard on this one too. I've mentioned this before because I feel like we see this combination a lot, but having Pantheon and Bard both because of the semi-global ultimates, you can actually do so much. Your options are all over the place.
You cover seemingly infinite space. The map is just, the map shrinks when you have these 2 champions, so it makes it even more difficult to play side lanes. Now, there will be and should be a team fighting trade-off with those 2 picks, but with how superior LYON team fighting was last game, they won't be that concerned with that fact currently.
Well, the Corki and Nami combo that has been gaining much more traction here in recent days is once more going to be locked in. Sentinels will be handing that off to Rahel and huhi. I think that we saw a lot in the bottom lane 2v2 laning phase last time of Isles just hitting hooks over and over and over again. It honestly felt like LYON were really the ones kind of dictating the pace of that 2v2. So it's something like a Corki and Nami. I want to see Sentinels be able to fight back.
I think, though, they should be able to win lane with this combination, because they can ban out some of the power pick supports after this. So they've already banned Ezreal of the Ezreal Karma. You can pair Karma with other stuff, but I just feel like Jhin Karma and stuff isn't as powerful. And they can also ban 1/2 of the Ashe Seraphine, which I think they should do. That would still leave open like a Lulu Gnar, which most people lose with, but Berserker Isles have been really good with. But all things considered, this lane is meta. They've locked it in, and there's no lane for LYON currently locked.
Well,
the Bard's already locked as well. So.
Yeah, we got the Bard. The Jhin is going to be banned away. The Poppy banned out by LYON. I always like this when you lock Akali already on your team and you spin one of the second bans, like getting rid of the Poppy. I feel like she's so effective. Also, Pantheon, of course, can't even use his point-and-click stun if he's in range of the Poppy. So already, that would be a lot of value for Steadfast Presence, so I respect banning that away. Lee Sin, the final ban for LYON. Interesting.
I mean, HamBak Lee Sin, maybe they saw Jose's Lee Sin yesterday, thought maybe it's similar.
Yeah, just I don't want to deal with that.
I'm a little surprised by the way these pick and bans have gone. Ashe Seraphine being completely through, even Orianna making it through this early is surprising. Jarvan going to HamBak in game 1 was surprising. So an update on this new patch. Like, the new patch, we're all thinking about who's going to be playing Static Shiv and how's the phase rush change going to impact things. And instead, things like Ashe Seraphine have just kind of fallen to the wayside.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see how expectations differ from reality when you do have those big shakeups to the way that the game works. But LYON, I still need to see an AD carry out of them. I still need to see what I'm assuming is a top laner out of them as well. So we're going to go Sivir next to the Bard.
Somewhat self-sufficient, can spell shield either a rocket or a phosphorus bomb or a Nami tidal wave that comes at him, so he'd be left in a few more 1v2 situations with the Bard. Probably just looking to scale up and pick something safe.
I respect it. As Sentinels, what's the jungle pick going to be here? You're up against Inspired Pantheon. You know how strong this champion is. You know how well Inspired can play the map. So what is the response? Still, of course, need to see the top laner too, but there's plenty of these kind of evergreen blinds still available, like the Renekton, so that's what they'll lock for impact.
And they will still be looking for HamBak's jungler, giving Dhokla full counter pick to the Renekton. Vayne is still there for old time's sake for Dhokla, if he really wanted to. But decent chance they'll just match it with something like Gnar or Ornn, since they have no real front line. Pretty interesting scaling. Orianna Mundo is a pretty lethal scaling combo. It's not very high pressure early though.
Yeah, the big thing that I'm a little bit curious here for Sentinels is the go buttons are not great. Mundo runs at you, Renekton can stun one target, Ori kind of needs somebody else to be in there to have the shockwave unless you've preset the trap.
Yeah.
So I guess Nami wave, but again, there's just none of these that make me go, okay, that's it, that's the button.
The primary engage, I think, is actually going to be Mundo flashing in with an Orianna ball.
Okay.
That's the primary engage. Los Fortones did this a lot in their few wins back in LEC Versus, but that's it. That's what they have.
Okay, primary engage on a 5-minute cooldown means when those engages happen, they need to be very effective.
Better work.
Better work, because the other side, the pick here, Dhokla, with that last pick of the draft, like you already mentioned, is going to opt for the Gnar into the Renekton. And again, whenever I see Gnar in the game, I always want to see the team play well around the Gnar bar, respect the timer. That's the entirety of his participation in the team fights. Set that up for success, because that's your big button.
Especially because outside of Mega Gnar, they have very little front line. Lions is going to be trying to play the whole map here. They need to play very wide and then create numbers advantages, because as low as the engage for Sentinels is with Orianna, Mundo, Renekton, Corki, Nami, their front to back, just like health and damage, is really high. Yeah. So if they manage to win lanes and they're first on objectives, Sentinels can still make things happen.
And that's exactly what you were talking about back at the start of the draft, right? With Bard and Pantheon, this is supposed to cost you team fight efficacy if you're going to have this map-wide range. So that's the name of the game. How well can LYON navigate their macro, play these side lanes, and position these high-threat champions correctly versus just the more ball of stats that Sentinels has?
Absolutely. And Sentinels, every series they've played has gone the distance.
Yep.
So even if last game ended bad, early game was close, and Sentinels has been able to punch back against every single opponent so far in the spring split.
All right. Let's see if this will continue that trend or if LYON can become the first team to put them down with a clean 2-0. Looking across the board here, nobody's doing anything super interesting early on. You can see Ward placed down on the LYON blue buff, though, as well as the LYON Raptor camp. So Sentinels want to make sure that they can track Inspired's early movements effectively.
They absolutely do, and we can see Impact in top lane on the Renekton once again. We've talked a lot about where Impact's tanks are, but we need to point out kind of how crazy this is. Look at all the champions he's played. Look at the champions he hasn't played.
Yeah.
Ornn, Sion, Cassante. They still don't think it's time yet. They're still saving them for later. But I feel like they could have used a little bit of Ornn engage. I think they could have even blinded Ornn against this team, but they decide to just go with the Renekton.
Okay, well,
that's some trading. Yeah,
this is some aggressive level 1 trading down here in bottom side. Combat summoner spells being used by both sides. The flashes are still available for now. LYON trying to make sure they maintain control over this wave, control over this push. Sivir's so very good at it. No level 2 here just yet. There we go. Isles will be the first one to secure that one. Remember the dredge lines during the laning phase in game number 1? He really had those dialed in. He was weaving them around really well, making sure that he was hitting the shots where you kind of have to utilize the lollipop on the very end of it.
Yep.
But we'll see how well his cosmic bindings can keep up with that down here.
Isles has been doing a great job performing as the year progresses, earning more and more of Berserker's trust. And their laning, their actual 2v2 laning, even at first stand, was exceptional. So Berserker Isles really been playing well. Both bot lanes had burned the barrier and heal in the early trades just to get the wave in, and Isles buying a bunch of time here so Berserker can get back to base and probably pick up an early call. Yep, that's what he does, and he'll be back. And
I feel like this is such a glow up for Isles as well, because for a long time he was on teams that were kind of permanently in the bottom part of the standings, right? Yep. It's much harder to prove yourself and really pop off and show your worth in those types of situations versus being on a team that has pieces on it like Inspired and like Saint and like Berserker. So I feel like Isles has kind of really got the chance. It's like, okay, you are on like a top contender team, show us what you're made of. And he's actually showed us some pretty good stuff.
He really has. I know we're saying, okay, there's a fight for Crab. Gonna flame Dignitas real quick, but there's no need.
HamBak trying to trade with Inspired here. Has the Heartstopper turned on. Meanwhile, Impact versus Dhokla up there in the top side. Impact charging up a lot of fury. Dhokla getting away for now. One more auto attack is going to proc the Hyper, and Impact is the one forced to flash away. We know HamBak down to 300 HP as Inspired is at 200 himself. They managed to heal him back up a little bit further as HamBak continues to chase towards Isles, hits him with the Bone Saw. Isles jumps away onto the blast cone, keeping himself alive. The attempted flash out from HamBak, but it's not good enough. The brush was warded, so Inspired's ready to follow immediately. Now Dhokla needs to kill into DARKWINGS. It's going to be a one-for-one trade as flashes get exchanged back over here underneath the tier 1 turret in the mid lane for Sentinels. Saint nearly kills huhi, but the Nami survives.
That is a big win for LYON in this skirmish. Dhokla trading kills at the very end, but most importantly, look at the biggest recipient of the gold. It's Inspired. He gets the kill, he gets an assist, he gets the double crab, and he's going to be off to the races on this Pantheon.
The Pantheon damage on the Q for the execute, having the ward in the brush to guarantee he gets the kill onto HamBak. Those are the types of small things that matter the most, that can really determine the outcome of these early game skirmishes. Now Dhokla's ready to crash this wave into the turret up here topside. And remember, Impact flashed in that exchange, Dhokla did not. So things can only get that much more dicey for Impact here in top.
Dhokla can really start bullying. The one thing that really started this play, though, was Isles being here first. So that's what was able to secure Inspire the inside track on that crab. Yes, huhi arrived later, but HamBak was already very low. Once he took the Bard Tunnel, he's gone too far. The brush is pre-warded. That's the execute. And I think Dhokla rightfully trades the one-for-one here. He'd already moved down into River. If he can secure the kill, it doesn't matter if it costs him his life as well, as that's just going to end up helping him and Saint.
And now that Nami also not having a flash there is going to open up more potential opportunity for plays to be made down there in the bottom lane, because huhi, it's such a squishy champion to play. If you're not in the right position on the Nami, it's so easy to be punished. HamBak makes his way down here though. Berserker, nice spell shield there onto the Aqua Prison. Isles just goes on a magical journey. They can just walk away from this one.
It's a Mundo gank. What you gonna do?
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, he walked at me. I'm gonna walk away.
Yeah, flashes, barriers, spell shields, heals, they're fine.
Impact committing dominance up here in the top lane, though. Recognizes that Dhokla is not close to being able to transform, so wants to try to take advantage of that window. Does force Dhokla back, crashes the wave into the turret, takes the first plate. Don't want to stick around too much longer, since Dominus will draw that tower aggro if Dhokla stands right next to you, so Impact's just going to walk that one off.
But still, that's good from Impact, knowing he's no flash, no TP, getting the wave in, getting a plate, trying to keep himself relevant in this game. Dhokla's likely going to base, try and get those upgraded boots, and then return.
All right, let's see what Inspired's going to do here on this Pantheon. Needs just the slightest amount more experience to hit level 6 and unlock the Grand Starfall. Not going to find it here just yet. Heads back into his own jungle instead. Rahel and huhi still kind of trapped underneath their own turret. They know that Inspired is somewhere in the neighborhood. Inspired waiting on his own red buff there now to respawn. That will be red plus level 6. I feel like this is a recipe for playmaking.
If Sentinels decide to push in a little bit too far or start this fight, Inspired would be flying in over the top. Impact is mid lane, though. He's hoping for an extended fight.
Okay, Inspired has his level 6. HamBak trying to pick up the crab. Magical Journey coming out from Isles. Rahel sidesteps the Cosmic Binding. Aqua Prison also not on the mark there to lock up Isles, so the Bard continues just walking away. Berserker blocking the rockets as they escape. HamBak secured that crab, but it wasn't enough to get him his level 6. There is a big difference between Mundo with ulti and Mundo without, so HamBak wants to make sure he catches back up to Inspired ASAP as Saint tries to keep the pressure onto DARKWINGS, but the hero minion intercepts the Shuriken flip.
Sentinels minion for sure. CS even in that mid wave actually, but Inspired just going to try and bide his time, and LYON is all about playing this game as wide as possible, whereas Sentinels are the ones that want to bring it together. And we saw a microcosm of that just now as Impact ran through mid lane, was hoping that there'd be a team fight where they can have 5v5, but while that was happening, Dhokla was pushing top lane and it forced everyone to spread out once again.
All right, Isles on the Bard, roaming once more as Saint jumps in after DARKWINGS. Ooh, the flash binding from Isles is a big ol' whiff. Saint, not quite enough damage to kill DARKWINGS there. You could see the idea is that hopefully you line the perfect execution up so when you dash back out, it can also hit the Orianna, but DARKWINGS positioned himself far enough to the right that that wasn't the case, so Saint not gonna get his lethal opportunity there. DARKWINGS survives and doesn't even use the flash.
I feel like Isles was trying to predict on that Q.
Yeah.
I feel like he was thinking that Darkwings was going to flash the flashing bard to get away, and then he didn't, so it didn't connect. I'd have to see that again to be sure, but that's what I think happened.
It feels like a likely scenario,
yeah.
right? You are thinking the guy is definitely going to try to flash here. You know how dangerous it is, but unfortunately was not the way it ended up playing out. And this is also going to give Inspired the confidence to go ahead and start working on the grubs. No first dragon taken so far yet in this one. Remember that in game number 1, it was Inspired with total neutral control early on. First Drake into the grubs after. This time around, the grubs are the first priority, while HamBak is going to start up the Drake. They know that Inspired is up at the grubs. They've got Darkwings and huhi both ready to help on this one. And HamBak's hoping to secure this before there's any response from LYON, and it looks like that'll be just the case.
Yeah, Inspired is just going back to base. He's happy with this trade. If they're trying to scale and play late game with Gnar and Sivir split pushing, the grubs will come in pretty handy for them. And they're just going to take this game slow, just like every early game that LYON takes.
Yep.
If the team was pushing the tempo, they're kind of seeming to do everything they can to slow it down.
And you mentioned earlier how all the money from that first fight, the big recipient was Inspired, just hit Sundered Sky before 9 minutes here in this second game. So he's going to have all the power he needs to continue trying to make moves as Isles once more going to evade the pressure here with a magical journey. Inspired, the gank over Rahel here in the bottom lane. That will do it. Inspired gets paid. 3-1 game here for LYON as Impact again tries to keep the pressure onto Dhokla, who has reverted back to mini Gnar form. HamBak coming in from the jungle, but Dhokla is already in full retreat.
Yeah, gonna try and save as many plates as he can. Will probably teleport back in, but Berserker's getting paid as well as Inspired after that gank pulled off. When 3 people showed mid and the shockwave missed from Darkwing's Orianna, that let Inspired know that he can just turret dive with impunity, and he pulled off the kill for free.
Isles trying to just continue covering up here in this top lane as Dhokla will use his teleport, return back up to the top side, has the plated steel caps alongside the Phage. Over on the other side, Impact will take this opportunity for a recall of his own. No neutrals to fight for on either side of the map right now, since the grubs were taken by LYON and then Sentinels took the dragon right after. But it does mean here in about 4 minutes, we're going to have a pretty interesting map state where I'll be interested to see what the teams place the value on with the Herald and the next dragon spawning at very similar times.
Absolutely. It's probably going to depend a little bit on just how the lanes are going, which flashes are burned, because then Inspired can pick his targets to find whatever the best team fight would be. I think if you're Sentinels, you just want Drakes. You want as many Drakes as you can because you need a way to draw the other team into you since you don't have good engage, and rushing Soul as quickly as possible is what they're going to prefer.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. When that next Drake spawns here in about 3 minutes, see how much priority Sentinels place on it. Looking across the board, we're still mostly messing with components here, so even though LYON does have a 1,000 gold advantage, it really is just mostly manifesting in Inspired with that Sundered Sky. Everybody else still feels a pretty decent sense of parity with their opponent, I would have to say. So doesn't look like we're going to get any more big, exciting moves. Even up in top lane, we just see every time Impact has Dominus ready, he just pops it, gets a little bit of wave control, forces Dhokla back, and then there's not a whole lot more to tell about it.
Yeah, and it's doing fine. I mean, if the junglers aren't going to go up there, may as well use your ult as much as possible to keep the gold close. The bigger thing is whether or not Saint can get a little bit fed in this game.
And that might just about be ready to happen here as HamBak invades the enemy jungle yet again. So much of this in game number 1, remember, and looking to run it back a little here in game number 2. Forces Isles away, but the Magical Journey once more guarantees the Bard's safety. huhi trying to follow HamBak in. Darkwings also coming around. LYON are being forced back in their own jungle because at the same time, Rahel also has things pushed up in the bottom lane, so he can rotate over. Yeah. It's actually 4 Sentinels players ready to invade the enemy red buff, and HamBak's going to steal this one away.
I love it. Deny Inspired as much as you can. Darkwings doing really well in this lane currently against the Akali. If Akali never gets kills, the Orianna ends up being fine. It's just in so many of these matchups, I'll see Akali get like 2 or 3 kills in a random dragon fight somewhere, and then the side lanes become unplayable. But current state, at least pre-Gunblade, it was really fine. Now it's going to get a little bit dicey with the Gunblade and the fact that role quest completed, so the Akali's going to side lane. But without random kills for the Akali and a bit of a snowball started, I think Darkwings is going to be generally okay.
Yeah, Darkwings also completing his Rod of Ages just about the exact same time as that Gunblade was finished for Saint, so at least that's going to already start stacking right about on the same timer as the previous game. I think this Rod of Ages is a little bit slower than what we saw from Saint's Rise in game number 1, but 60 seconds left on the clock until we get that next Drake. There's not a whole lot of attention, a whole lot of vision paid towards the bottom side river just yet. Dhokla versus Impact yet again. Just the classic slap each other around. Nobody's actually in any real danger. Okay, we disengage. But there are some potential outside actors ready to get involved. Both supports also in the top side river battling over vision right now. And the fact that the supports are battling over vision, look at the difference in the vision in the two parts of the river. The bottom side river has one red ward in it. The top side river has so many more resources invested in and around that area.
This makes me think that LYON's not going to be playing for the Drake that's up in 22 seconds.
Yeah,
if they have 5 wards on the top side, they're probably conceding this and going for something top.
That would be my guess as well, because generally we're not going to waste 500 gold's worth of wards to control an area.
Crazy.
We're not going to. Yeah, there's so much vision up there from the Lion side. They are up 1,500 gold as a team, but Isles and Inspired are down here in the bottom side jungle. HamBak's going to go ahead and start up the dragon with the infected bone saw.
They're still thinking about it. They got the people here. They're going to try and retake this vision, it seems like.
Inspired and Isles looking around. Rahel and huhi want to get as much damage onto Berserker as they can. Rahel with the Valk away as Inspired wants to go in for the big engage, but now he's got to be careful. HamBak here in the front line with the Heartstopper. Isles continues running, but your magical journey is very short. That's one kill over to Sentinels. HamBak's going to take it. LYON getting a little bit over-eager to try to make that play. You saw Inspired go for the flash stun onto Rahel, but Rahel's reaction was good enough to reactively Valk away, and it made it so they couldn't full commit onto the Corki. Sentinels are going to win the fight. That's going to earn them their second Drake.
And we know in even-numbered fights, Sentinels has more health and damage, and if you engage for them, they're happy about that because the fight begins and they can just walk you down. So HamBak going to become a problem on this Mundo if he gets more fights like that, and if LYON's not able to attack the side lanes.
Saint trying to clear out the waves around the tier 1 turret here in bottom side. Nice shockwave there, pulls him right back out of his dash, so DARKWINGS chunks him low. HamBak and huhi still thinking about making their way forward to try to finish this off. Bonesaw connects. Saint trying to make enough distance to get away here, but no, it's HamBak making the play yet again as Impact has to try to escape here from the top side. Tempered Fate pauses the turret for quite a while. Dhokla still on the chase now too. Impact trying to walk it away, but no, Dhokla gets the last auto attack. Impact falls. LYON at least gets something back there on the top side.
Inspired ults in for emotional support. Now they're probably going to get the Rift Herald started up as well. But Teleport coming back quickly for Sentinels with Orianna joining the turret. So LYON trying to make some cross-map plays happen, but Sentinels making a lot of good happen with the Mundo and the Drake stack.
And this is kind of like what we were talking about in game number 1, where Sentinels, they're making moves across the map. They have plans that they're trying to purposefully execute. It's not just LYON determining everything, but really just so much of it is going to come down. Nice interrupt there on the recall, cancel for Berserker. It's just going to come down so much to what these team fights look like. Can LYON manage to out-team fight that ball of stats that you're talking about? Because the task is going to be tough. Once more, though, it's time to battle over vision
a lot of people
in the topside river. Isles, magical journey back to the safety of the tier 1. Wards from both supports onto the Phaelite.
Yeah, and it's no surprise that Sentinels is playing LYON tight, even though it's 3-1 versus 1-3, because if we look at what Sentinels has actually played so far this year, they've gone to 3 games against everyone, and they've played good competition. The last 3 weeks, C9, FlyQuest, Team Liquid, now LYON. After this week, it will get easier for them in their quest to make playoffs, but very interesting as this Rift Herald has started up.
HamBak chunked down to 1/3 HP, but he is Dr. Mundo. Inspired, caught in the Aqua Prison, and both junglers are out of the picture, but a 2-man shockwave arrives from DARKWINGS. Saint trying to hide in the smoke still, dives towards the back line, but he can't kill huhi yet again. Rahel gets one back as he now has to scrap with Berserker on the left side of the fight, though. Dhokla being forced away by Impact. DARKWINGS staying alive for now as Berserker finally kills Rahel, but Impact can't catch up to Dhokla. It's a bloodbath in the topside river.
Looks like a 2-for-2 with Berserker getting a kill over on the side by flashing in for it, but the Mundo continues to be a factor. Inspired's early lead is kind of evaporating, and the Akali for Saint isn't having the same influence that he had on Rise. So watching the way this one started one more time, it's Sentinels. This is how all their fights kind of have to look. They have to start the objective, and they have to fight when LYON enters. So HamBak not having level 11 was big there. Shockwave landed onto 2 up on the top side. And then Saint just can't get the execute onto huhi, gets finished off. But then Berserker able to flash on the side over here as DARKWINGS and Impact try and chase down Dhokla.
And honestly, huhi and Dhokla are both kind of lucky to get away and live there because they were both at a couple hundred HP. That mid lane tier 1 turret also not looking super hot for Sentinels right now. 18 minutes into the game, we still have no turrets taken from either side.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I feel like that's got to be an anomaly. That doesn't sound right.
I mean, it sounds like it's going Sentinels' way. They want this game to go late. They want the Orianna and the Mundo to scale up. LYON will have Berserker insurance. You always have some level of Berserker insurance when he's on a hyper carry. He can always carry a game if he hits 5 or 6 items, but because it just shortens the lanes, so the ganks aren't as threatening.
Still only that 1,000 gold lead, not even that much. Completions because we are a bit further into the game now. You can see Berserker with the Infinity Edge completed as Rahel also nearly has his Muramana fully evolved.
He does, so he's going to be trying to keep up with Berserker as well as possible. Second item completed for DARKWINGS with the Proto Belt as well. And I do want to call out, I know we talked a lot about Jose Dioto and his quest for MVP. I think Inspired is actually there as well. So last weekend, he didn't die. He had 11 kills. He was soloing the solo laners in Game 1. He didn't die in Game 1 of this series. He's died once in the last 4 games. He's still the defending champion. He's still a shot caller. He still finds the right setup in almost all situations. He's pretty good.
He's pretty good.
Again, it looks like they're in a tough situation. We'll see if LYON teamfighting can prevail once again.
All right, 10 seconds until the Earth Drake spawns. If Sentinels secure this, it's soul point. It's exactly what they want. Like you were talking about earlier, something that LYON will be forced to answer for the rest of the game on a 5-minute timer. Sentinels control the river for now. HamBak trying to land as many bone saws as he can.
Look at Saint. Look at this flank.
Ooh, he is deep behind enemy
Yes,
lines.
he is.
If he can manage to get the angle there, that is a prime angle to make something happen. Meanwhile, though, Dhokla off on the left side has to be careful as Rahel valks forward with huhi right behind him, puts a little chunk of damage into the Gnar while he is in that vulnerable mini form. Isles and Saint both going to approach from the side. They want to go after DARKWINGS as Inspired flies in, but again, the counter engage is there. HamBak trying to deal with Inspired as Saint wants to complete the execution onto DARKWINGS. Dhokla coming up right behind him. Inspired is already down, but LYON have found themselves a double kill for Saint. With Rahel out of the picture, can they find more? Dhokla's still trying to get away, but HamBak's on the chase. Flash forward for the execute with the auto attack as Isles has to try to escape from impact, but no! The hungry crocodile is ready for his lunch, and Berserker and Saint are the only 2 left standing on the LYON side. It's a 3-for-2 trade, and Sentinels retain control of the Dragon Pit. Impact wants even more. He lands the Ruthless Predator onto Saint, but he misses the kill by 100 damage.
But it looks like the Mundo is going to be able to secure Sentinel's soul point for Mountain Soul as soon as he finishes off the last 2,000 health on this Drake. Really crazy fight and flank by LYON. They completely sold out to kill DARKWINGS here. Pantheon flies in. Saint goes on his magical journey around everyone. Doesn't even reach, so the Bardald has to get him there, and then he kills DARKWINGS. I kind of blame Rahel a little bit for being right next to DARKWINGS after all of that, because they sent everything on DARKWINGS and still managed to kill Saint. So I think the fight could have got even better for Sentinels if their carries had spread out a little bit more, because they ended up, if you're trying to run through like Mundo, Orianna, Mundo, it's tough.
Nice.
Agreed. Yep. That was pretty nice.
Yeah, pretty nice.
That was pretty nice. Our game is still almost even in terms of gold, but now Sentinels are the ones who do have the slightest of leads. And remember back to game number 1, it was Sentinels that were marginally ahead for a good long while, but then once LYON took the lead, they just kept it for the rest of the game, right? So now that Sentinels have a slight lead, they have soul point, I really feel like this next dragon needs to be soul. Like, they can't afford a blunder around it and have to wait 5 more minutes to hit that power spike. Impact and HamBak thinking about just trying to force down the tier 1 turret, but LYON's ready to respond with droves here as huhi sends out the tidal wave and hits 3 with it. HamBak's got to be careful as the burst comes in. Berserker's about to kill him. Saint is down, but traded away for HamBak. A 1-for-1 trade as all 5 players from both teams flock to the tier 1.
Berserker getting pretty strong, pretty crazy fight over the third turret of the game. So that's all tier 1s down for LYON now. HamBak, surprisingly squishy against Berserker Sivir, who's really packing a punch so far.
Yeah, that Infinity Edge being done just makes this guy hurt so much. When you look at HamBak, yeah, he's got a lot of health.
Yeah.
But the only armor is plated steel caps and Deadmans. Everything else is heart steel, and then the components you could see, they're grayed out right now, but it's a Kindle Gem and a Ruby Crystal. So he's a big, giant sponge, and sponges are soft. And Berserker is doing a good job punching through that sponge of HP that is HamBak. But again, I think like the past many team fights, we've kind of seen both junglers be the focus at the very start because Inspired has to fly into it to focus an enemy carry. HamBak then is the one on Inspired bodyguard duty to throw him out of the club. Inspired has been thrown out of the club twice.
He has.
The past couple of fights, the Pantheon has not been able to accomplish his goal, and I feel like that then means HamBak did accomplish his, since he's the one keeping his carries safe. There is only one individual gold lead on LYON right now. It is Berserker, though. He is almost 2,000 gold ahead of the enemy AD carry. If you're LYON, that's the win con.
He's absolutely the win con. It's not Saint. Saint had an amazing game one on Rise. Hasn't really been able to get much done on the Akali. Now, that being said, Akali into Mundo, Renekton, Orianna, if you don't have the ability to attack the Orianna in side lanes, is kind of a tough game to play.
Yeah.
But Sentinels have done a good job just picking the right fights because we know they have such limited engage and they have just pushed their waves, been in position first to these objectives, and they've kind of forced LYON to come contest them. And it hasn't worked out for LYON with Soul Point being here already for Sentinels.
Yeah, less than 2 minutes until that spawns. Like I already said before our Tier 1 bloodbath up here, I think that this is going to be so important for Sentinels to secure it here and not 5 minutes from now, not losing out on this one. They've already executed twice on being able to win these team fights, earn themselves the Drakes. They're going to have to make it that third time for the charm, though, as HamBak and Impact, the big, beefy front line here for Sentinels. Impact with that Spear of Shojin, so this isn't like the Sterix Gauge type of itemization that allows you more survivability in team fights, but if Impact does have target access, it guarantees a lot of extra damage.
It does mean that they're thinking about going for Dhokla, who's all alone.
Yeah, Dhokla is pretty far pushed up, tries to hop away. Yeah, Dokla's underneath the enemy turret. Impact has to pop the Dominus to make sure that he doesn't die 1-for-1 there, but they get their kill onto Dhokla.
Not a huge loss in the overall map. It sent 4 people up there. It looks like Saint's going to be able to kill the bot turret. Mid turret's on 1 plate, so maybe that's pretty close as well. I think that's just nice little entertainment before the eventual soul fight.
Just a little, it's a filler episode.
Yeah.
The soul fight's the next major plot point.
Although, the timer's 30 seconds until Drake, 25 seconds until Dhokla, and it looks like his TP's still on cooldown, so it's actually kind of bad.
Yeah, the teleport is not going to be available.
No.
He's going to spawn very slightly before it, but it takes longer than 5 seconds to run from the fountain to the dragon.
Just please, this dragon is all it matters, okay, guys? All it matters. And then all about fights. We need...
Well, I feel vindicated now that huhi agrees with me and my point about this dragon, it's so important. That seems to be the notion here for Sentinels as they establish some of their vision control towards the entrance of the enemy red side jungle.
Dhokla is going to make it back. They just don't have good vision at the start. So the dragon is the tool to get them into the fight. They have to watch out for the Akali TP.
Yeah, and there's that flank like we're talking about. Saint once again looking for the pincer attack, but they found him. He's been spotted out. HamBak trying to move in from the right side. Lines are all over the place in this one. LYON trying to regroup, reestablish those battle lines in a safer way. Saint's flank is spoiled. That's pretty big here for Sentinels.
HamBak's got to retake the space. Isles gets engaged on by Renekton. Here's the fight.
Yep, there's your Ruthless Predator trying to lock him up. Berserker gets away for now, firing back into Impact as Inspired, looking for the chance to jump on in. Now it's Sentinels who have to reorganize their battle lines. DARKWINGS knocked down to half HP. On the Hunt was used from the Sivir. Grand Starfall used from the Pantheon. All ultis still available on the Sentinel side.
It is just an eye contact fight right now, and Sentinels has reestablished themselves, but a TP from Impact is very risky.
Yeah, he TP's in, but he immediately flashes out of the Mega Gnar, so now Dhokla doesn't have that ultimate to use in the upcoming team fight. Saint is still looking for this potential flank as Inspired at 40% HP stays right next to Berserker. HamBak continues trying to zone them away with the infected bone saws as Dhokla reverts back into the midi form now. Saint forced to pop the smoke. Sentinel still staying on top of the Drake, but no DPS being put into it. They're solely focused on the fight. You heard huhi talking about it in the comms. Inspired's now your target. He throws up the shield to stay alive for now, but it's another nice tidal wave. coming out from huhi. Rahel is down. Saint found the execution, but Saint dies in trade. Dhokla and Berserker still looking to get a little bit more damage in as Sentinels health bars crumble. LYON find their angle. DARKWINGS goes golden, but he's only a trophy for Dhokla. The shutdown on the Orianna. Sentinels, this long dance outside of the Dragon Soul doesn't go their way. Now HamBak and Impact try to run away into the enemy jungle. They're not gonna go very far though. It's a shutdown for Dhokla. It's an ace for LYON.
LYON team fighting is just different. Isles with the perfect flash stun onto Rahel, gets them to kill the Corki before Rahel can really do damage, and most importantly, Berserker just gets to hit.
I have to fight now.
Yeah, we should fight, guys. Just
We are
come.
fighting.
I'm looking. Corki. Yeah, I can one-shot him.
Mundo has no passive.
Look him. Fine, guys.
No W Renekton, Mundo no flash. Looks fine.
Look.
Ult in the back
Go front. No flash. Come.
Nice stun.
Orianna has flashy, guys.
I'm
Has
looking
flashy.
Orianna, yeah. I got him.
Don't hit.
Renekton
Take
no
that, Dragon.
E yet.
Just fight.
Yeah,
Portal
I-
3.
No,
I'm walking.
Calm down. No flash on Mundo.
My ulti 3 seconds. Yeah.
I think Renekton flashed into.
Oh,
it.
I will just tank, okay?
Yeah,
Go.
yeah.
No
Wait for
flash
that,
on
you
Mundo.
don't.
Go ahead.
Look, lantern.
No
Nice.
flash on Mundo.
Mundo.
Nice. Let's get Drake.
Really love the comms there, both from Inspired and from Isles. Inspired dead, telling them not to do Drake, continue the fight, and then Isles with the confidence at the very end to pick up those last 2 kills.
And I love the fact that you call out it's Isles Cosmic Binding under Rahel's Corki.
Oh my gosh.
Holy
That was just that was the last fight.
Yeah, 13K in one fight. So you remember what I was talking about with sponges?
Spongy Mundo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that Mundo is
Wait a minute.
sponged. The damage from Berserker is just absolutely next level now. He has his Mortal Reminder fully completed. Total damage this game, he is 7,000 ahead of the next closest competitor, which is actually his own top laner. It's not even Saint.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost all of it was from that fight. So is Sivir 11-4. He does win a lot of games, but it's every hyper carry I feel like Berserker just has some insane stats on.
I mean, we remember when he first joined the league back in the day on Cloud9, it was the very scary Zeri hyper carry meta where it's just a pentakill every single game, and that just became synonymous with him in my mind. But LYON have now taken a huge control over the momentum in this game. 4,000 gold ahead. You've stopped the soul for Sentinels. This is now where we put Sentinels' tenacity to the test, because things are rough. They have got to try to stabilize themselves after that. That was the biggest swing in the game thus far that has resulted in the biggest difference in power thus far.
It really has. And just like that, a 4,000 gold lead for LYON. Like, what is this, man?
Just materialized.
Okay. Don't count Sentinels out, Flowers. Every single series they've played this year, they've gone to split. They've gone to 3 games. It doesn't look great. It doesn't look great right now, but trust the process.
Yeah, what we were talking about earlier, their previous games that looked like they were guaranteed losses, that one against Cloud9 that was a 7,000 gold deficit or something at the time. 7's more than 4. If you can win that one, you can win this one.
4,000 gold, 31 minutes, that's like nothing.
Yeah,
That's nothing. That's
That
like
might as well not even exist. Don't worry about that.
It's all on Sivir,
yeah,
which I think is worse than it just being 3,000 general gold.
But that means if you kill Sivir, it's all gone.
And it's all gone.
It's all gone. All you got to do is kill the Fed Sivir that hasn't died once yet this game.
That has Spell Shield, Barrier, and Flash.
And Knight's Vow from Bard.
But if you catch him off guard with the Mundo flashing an Orianna ball, you've got a chance.
Okay, that's the name of the game then.
Yeah.
Isle trying to clear out some of the vision here in the Baron Pit. Still 2 minutes until that next dragon spawns, so attention will be more around this top side river for now. Big item purchases being completed though. You've got the Randuin's Omen next to the Sterix Gauge there for Dhokla, so very durable now on the Gnar. Guardian Angel completed for Inspired. Arm Guard Unbroken ready for Saint. I already mentioned the Knight's Vow on Isles, so a lot of clutch items available now on the side of LYON. As Berserker, I mean, he takes a chunk of damage, but he's not in any true
He got his
lethal
R.
danger.
That's something. Got to chip away at him, land some jabs, so no crazy move speed.
But he is level 17 now, so ultimate cooldowns, they aren't particularly long. And we still have 70 seconds until the Soul Dragon will spawn. So for LYON, you just pump the brakes a little bit, wait for that to come back. and it shouldn't be that big of an issue. Or maybe you just do the opposite. Catch them off guard, go for the Baron yourself.
A little surprising here that they're starting up the Baron because I feel like HamBak would be able to walk in. It's on a Gnar timing, so they're trying to get something out of it.
Okay, Dhokla ready to transform at any moment. Berserker does a lot of damage to this objective. Impact tries to get away, escapes the Tempered Fate, so that's one ulti down on the LYON side. 5,000 HP remaining on the Baron as Sentinels are ready to step up. HamBak's still only level 15, so he doesn't have the major power spike from the 3rd level ultimate upgrade. Dhokla reverts back to Mini-Gnar form, so with the Bard ult missing, Dhokla reverted back to Mini-Gnar. It feels like the LYON plan has kind of just been foiled here, but still sticking around as their recalls are interrupted.
That was crazy by HamBak right there. It's 18 seconds until Soul, so Sentinels is going to very easily have position on the spawn of this Drake, but they're now the ones running into clear more vision away from Baron. This Drake is all that matters, like who he said for the last one.
Yeah, Isles face checks the brush here. Impact is waiting on him, but it's only Impact, so it's not like there's any real threat onto Isles. He will be forced back, however, and that's exactly what you're saying. Sentinels now has total control over the bot side river. They're just going to start the objective.
But they're not dumping all their damage onto it yet. They're hoping to do damage to Lion when Lion flies in.
Yep, Dhokla still in mini form, but Inspired drops in with a Grand Starfall, finds his way into the back line, goes after huhi, but he can't quite kill him. Isles also getting away in a magical journey over the wall. Inspired still low, but he's still fighting. DARKWINGS dies first. Saint trying to assassinate huhi yet again, stays alive in the stasis, and it buys him all the time he needs. A double kill for Berserker as Impact can't even kill Isles. HamBak's the only one still standing. And that is a disaster fight for Sentinels. It's a 4-for-0 for LYON.
LYON might be trying to end the game off of this one. They double TP into the top lane to at least maximize the gold that they're going to be getting. They haven't actually killed the Drake yet, so with this investment, they might be looking to end here.
Yeah, this is the full send call from LYON. 5-man push, barreling down the top lane. Only HamBak on the Mundo still standing to maybe be able to stop them. 5 seconds left on huhi respawning on the Nami. 10 seconds on DARKWINGS, 15 on Rahel. LYON make their way onto the first Nexus turret. They burn it down. huhi and HamBak trying to buy enough time for everybody else to come back. Tempered Fate onto DARKWINGS back in the fountain as huhi dies to Saint. LYON, they've made their way onto the Nexus now. They've got it down to 1/3 HP, but the shockwave kills them! The clutch hold from Sentinels at the very edge.
They didn't hear no bellflowers. That's a huge shockwave from DARKWINGS. He just one-shots the carries, and Soul is still up.
The Soul is up. Everybody in a LYON jersey is dead. The Baron is up. You can get both super buffs back to back.
That is an incredible hold by Sentinels. Just when you thought LYON was going to secure the clean sweep, they stay in the game. So objective bounties aren't up, but they get all the champion bounties, and they have so much time, they're easily going to be able to just collect. Then they'll be able to reset again, but probably they need to stick in their base because their Nexus is completely exposed.
The Nexus is exposed at 25% HP, so if you just have like Pantheon ult in, drop a ward, and then teleport Dhokla and Saint on top of him, they can just burst your Nexus down. It is kind of dangerous stuff, but this is what we're talking about. He didn't hear no bell. The gold difference of 6,000 or whatever it was, it doesn't matter.
Oh my God. So, I mean, it was 9,000. I need to find the moment they landed that shockwave in this game. All but over, it felt like.
That is absolutely crazy. But
what?
They still have to protect Nexus.
Yeah, 7,500 gold, they were down. Now they're only down 3,000 gold, but they have the Soul, which is thousands of golds of stats. Rahel got a bunch of gold off of that one. They're nearly going to have death cap on their Orianna. They've hit the level 16 spike on Mundo. All those power spikes that they weren't quite on this entire time, they just slingshot back to hitting them with that hold.
What an absolutely crazy sequence. That was so close. And now Sentinels feel like they've been given a second chance. The Nexus still rapidly regenerating its HP. It's climbed back up to about 2/3 now, so at least they can't kill it in 2 auto attacks.
Yeah.
But you're still pretty afraid of it being in trouble until you get the inhibitor back.
Yeah,
right?
just chill.
Let's protect it a little bit.
Big adrenaline spike. Everyone just hold on. They have death cap on the Orianna now. They're level 17 on Mundo. They'll be hitting level 20 on the 2 Soul laners.
Yep.
Berserker's still going to be a problem. He's a very big problem. But with Mountain Soul, it's a little harder to cut through people. They all have the overshield and the extra armor and MR.
Rahel also with his Infinity Edge on the Corki has the last Whisper too to punch through this front line of Dhokla and Inspired. That's trying to knock that Corki out ASAP. LYON setting up positions here in enemy jungle. Inspired just stealing away some Kruggies. Both top laners about to hit level 20.
Unless something crazy happens, we're really on long cooldown here because the team with Baron can't leave their base. And because they took Drake and Baron at the same time, those objective timers are super long.
Yeah, there's nothing on the map.
So let's look at some stats.
Okay, what do you got?
Berserker, 40,000 damage so far in this game. HamBak, surprisingly, 32,000 damage. Let's check the gold. Why not?
Okay, sure. Let's see what we got here. Total gold, 20,000. Rahel only 1,000 behind now.
Yeah.
On the Corki.
That's the huge amount of bounties that he collected on that. He was honestly kind of useless in most of these fights. Because if I look back to the amount of damage that he was actually doing, yeah, 18,000. He's the least damage on his team other than the support.
Yeah, he's certainly not at the spot he would like to be in.
If he gets to enter the game, that's going to be big for Sentinels.
10 seconds left on the Baron, though. Only plus 200, 300 gold on the Red Bull power play like you were talking about. It's just kind of the nature of the game when you get Baron, but you have to be stuck in your own base.
Yeah.
I feel like we went from a game that felt like a LYON stomp to just being on a knife's edge.
Dude, it's 36 kills in 39 minutes. It became just a turbo banger off of that one hold.
Yeah. Credit to DARKWINGS for the shockwave that saved the game, but the job's not done yet. If Sentinels wants to keep this going to a game 3, they're still going to have to find their way through some LYON defenses that still have tier 2 turrets in 2 of the 3 lanes. Sentinels at least having enough confidence to move back out through their own jungle now, as their Nexus turrets have at least respawned, so it's not like the Nexus itself is completely vulnerable. You can see 5 seconds left on that top lane inhibitor that I was talking about. You really want that to be restored so that you don't have to have the extra minion pressure. All right,
inhibitor's back.
Sentinel's base, it's
a little
healed.
bit of safety. Maybe they kill Isles here as they're moving in. So production wasn't running the replay because they were afraid, like, running the replay into some Nexus backdoor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I told them now is probably safe to run the replay, so if the game ends during the replay, you can blame me.
Okay.
I apologize. I really want to see it again.
But it's still 2 minutes until the next fight.
Exactly. So I don't think, unless someone makes a big mistake, we're safe to see the replay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I agree with Jatt. Let's see it.
Yeah. Oh my god. So, HamBak, the Bard ult stops the Orianna. HamBak is just mauling Inspired, but it's really, to me, it was all about the shockwave. Let's see what Rahel does down on the bot side. He kills Dhokla, kills Inspired, and then DARKWINGS. God, catch Saint and Berserker in the shockwave. That's it. If he only catches one, they have so much AD.
Here. Nice.
Wait, I think...
Man, I think it's not over.
Yeah,
Inspired.
we're still alive.
Something.
All right, now it's time to start having things get tense again, because like you pointed out earlier, the buffs taken at the same time means they respawn at the same time.
Yes.
So Baron and Elder are both going to spawn just about 60 seconds from now, and these types of situations can become so nerve-wracking as the teams dance back and forth and try to decide where are we actually going to pressure, where are we going to try to juke them out and make them think that we're focusing on. It's this is where that macro-level shot calling just decides the game.
It really does. I'd say one small call-out that we haven't given much credit to is Dhokla's Gnar in these fights. He seems to always be hitting Mega. He's a big part of the dive that's been killing Rahel and pushing him out of fights. So that's been very effective. But Berserker, Guardian Angel completed, Hex Drinker on the side of Rahel. Both AD carries approaching max items. Berserker's there, Rahel almost, and Sentinels set up on the Elder side currently.
Double Guardian Angels for the LYON side. You've got Stasis for the Akali. You've got the Sterix on the Gnar. So many defensive tools on the other side. Also, the Sterix for Impact, the Stasis for DARKWINGS. But the critical difference here is no Guardian Angel on Rahel. If he gets stunned at the start of a fight again, if he dies instantly, that's just the whole game right there. But it looks like Sentinels have decided the buff that they care more about between the two is the Elder. Typically, if you get this one first, you're just so much stronger in combat. You can force your opponents away from the Baron. Isles going on a magical journey, trying to get all the way away. Tempered Fate defensively gets enough space for now, will escape. But that's one of their big potential pick/engage tools no longer available.
Totally worth it. They don't burn much for that. They get the heal, the Bard ult, and they really push him out of the fight. LYON playing the long game, though. Dhokla just looks like he took red buff right now. So they're really trying to spread out.
Saint being marked by impact on the right side of the fight.
He popped Mega on that red buff.
Okay, Dhokla goes for his recall. Dhokla bars Guardian Angel. There are 3 Guardian Angels on LYON. This team is ready for one fight to decide the entirety of the game. The Elder begun by Sentinels, but DPS is going pretty slowly. Inspired ults in here with the Grand Starfall. Huhi has to try to flash away, but the Nami dies immediately at the start of the fight. Saint finds his angle over the wall, and the carries from Sentinels are cut to ribbons. Berserker gets the kill on DARKWINGS, and yet again, Sentinels kill everybody except for Dr. Mundo. LYON are taking these guys down 2-0 style. It was dicey there at that first Nexus push, but there's no way for Sentinels to stay standing on this one. The timers are simply too long. The LYON team fighting is simply too good. They call their shot, and it's a home run. LYON sweep Sentinels 2-0.
What a gorgeous team fight to end the game. That was against Mountain Soul, late game Corki, Orianna, Mundo, and they just came in from every possible angle. They had 3 GAs, they only used 1 of them. So they completely wiped them there at the very end. Was an amazing last round, second to last round of fighting. As Sentinels stayed alive, but then they walked in for that last round and got completely KO'd.
It went from a game that, like I said, just felt very one-sided, very favored for LYON, and then now it's crazy for the last 5 minutes. Sentinels, but again though, I feel like this is just what we see from Sentinels so often. Their early games, they can build leads. They get themselves to the point where they're at soul point and they're demanding the answer from their opponents, but then they don't clutch the soul fight. It's LYON that ends up coming out on top, and now with the series wrapped up, we're joining Emily and Isles for an interview.
Hello, I am here with Victoria's support, Isles. Let's just go over. So what is going through your mind when DARKWINGS actually does hit that shockwave as you guys are trying to get down the Nexus?
There is a big, brief moment of silence. You're thinking you have 50 seconds to think about what we're going to do. I think I said not so cheerfully. They're going to get Elder and, Soul and Baron now, but you know, when you have so much time and they're not ending, I mean, all you can think about is your next steps. So, yeah.
Yeah, what went through in terms of comms for regrouping? Because obviously you guys did end up taking the game, and it was through a team fight at Baron. Your team fighting definitely seemed superior in this series.
I mean, I do think that even though we lost Baron and Soul, the game was not really over. At this point in the game, it seemed like Renekton was largely outscaled. Gnar was pressuring on the side constantly, and it didn't really seem like Sivir could be moved off the mid-wave particularly easily. So I think, I mean, there definitely were some complications. I think the way we played around Nash wasn't great. I was definitely too hasty in what we were looking for, but I mean, the way that we engaged later on in the game is not really that clear just altogether when you play against champs like Corki, Nami, but I think we did a fairly good job of playing to our win cons, and that's what got us over the line.
Going into this match, you had said on pros, you kind of expressed shock that Sentinels were 1-3 going into this. They've had a recently tough strength of schedule, but just talk to me about your perception of Sentinels as a team going into this matchup.
I mean, I've said this many times before, but I think that Sentinels' greatest strength is their teamwork. Not necessarily their team fighting individually, not necessarily the laning individually, but their teamwork. They're a very coordinated team, and it seems like their jungle and support are almost always on the same page about what they want to do in the game, and their laners play around that very, very well accordingly. Obviously, I think today in game 1, I think they had a bit of a tough draft to make use of, and I think their support was maybe underutilized. In that sense, it was really hard for them to make progress, which is probably why the game seemed so easy. But I still think Sentinels is a good team. I think they didn't show their best today, neither did we, maybe in the second game. And draft is really important, I think, right now in this stage of the meta, so definitely can contribute, but glad to get the win regardless.
And then kind of looking ahead, you got comparatively little to prepare on this current patch. So have you seen anything that surprised you or anything fun and interesting you kind of want to pull out for the future?
I mean, some teams have been very experimental in scrims, but a lot of the stuff, especially for support, honestly, has stayed the same. So for me, it's not as exciting, I think, as other people, but I mean, we'll just have to see.
No crazy Braum with Hail Blades, Static Shiv, no?
No, I haven't pulled that one out yet, but maybe after the win, you'll see me in solo queue picking some unhinged things.
Nice. We'll look forward to it. Thank you so much, Isles. We'll toss it back to the lounge to close that out.